Welcome to episode 1517 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, as Mike Richards looks at his left field Leafs lager. But that's another story. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. The Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team. The best baseball in the city outside the Dome. To my right is a guy who played for the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team, but we'll get to him in a moment. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921, and the official funeral home of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Today we're live from the Toronto Maple Leafs game at Christie Pits. My co-host for this afternoon is Mike Richards.
Now, I've never quite heard it that way before, and maybe you say it that way every time, but do you really want to be the official funeral home of
Toronto Maple Leafs baseball? Everybody dies, Mike Richards.
I was going to say.
This. Everybody dies.
Maybe it's the Blue Jays. They should be the official. But
hey, did you say Blue Jays? Do you know the guy to my right played for the Toronto Blue Jays?
Yes, I do.
You do know this. Okay,
yes.
Let's introduce him, and we can now officially call him an FO Tim. And you and I, Mike, will catch up. I hear you probably have a big announcement to make, because every time we chat, you have a big announcement to make. I love it. Okay, so we're going to catch up with you. I want to ask you about Mako Sr. I want to ask you about Bob Cole. We're going to have a great chat. But welcome to Toronto Mic'd, Rich Butler.
Hello.
Welcome, buddy. East York legend.
I wouldn't say legend, but okay.
Well, who's more of a legend than you in East York?
I would say my brother. And,
Rob. Because he got the ring?
Yeah, he's got the ring and stuff.
But he's an older guy than us,
he's older,
right?
You got Alan Butler and those guys there too as well.
How's it going?
Good. It's great.
You throw out the first pitch today?
Yeah. Yeah, my arms are tendonitis, but I'm okay.
But did you throw a strike?
No, outside. Hide outside.
Hide outside. All right. Well, then the Toronto Blue Jays want to talk to you. They're looking for a guy who can throw high and outside. Okay, so Mike, and you are the co-host. Okay, I don't want to hog the microphone because I'm excited. I got Rich Butler to my right here. You can ask Rich any questions you want, but can I ask you about Newfoundland?
Okay.
Like what is your? I remember talking to your brother on Toronto Mike. We had a long chat in my basement, and we were talking about Newfoundland and the Butlers. Can you remind me of this wonderful connection the Butlers have to Newfoundland?
My father was born in Newfoundland, right? So that's where he's from.
But all Butlers are from Newfoundland. Is that right? Am I right?
Well, they've been there for about 400 years, so it's deep-rooted. I think they're the first family of Newfoundland. So, So my dad was born there.
Okay.
And
look at this play right here.
Whoa.
Okay, big catch in center field. We're playing Hamilton today here. This gentleman's name is Nicholson, number 4. Big grab. So I'm going to react because I cannot react to what happens right in front of me.
Yeah,
but
my dad was born in Newfoundland. He grew up in basically a street called Butlerville.
Well, how convenient.
In Newfoundland. It's in the Bay Roberts area.
He can't get lost.
Yeah. And he was one of 13. My grandparents had a lot of kids. And
wow.
So deep-rooted in Newfoundland for
Okay,
sure.
So your family's from Newfoundland, and I was reading you've done some baseball tutoring. I had training. What's the proper nomenclature for that? But you've been working with people in Newfoundland recently, right?
Yeah. I've been going back and forth, doing some lessons and some camps in there over the years. Baseball is growing there, right, in the St. John's area and the Bay Roberts area.
Has Newfoundland ever produced a major leaguer?
I would have to check the record books.
Okay,
I would say
Mike,
me and Rob
what do you think? You're a trivia guy.
No, I'm terrible at that.
I would say me and Rob are Newfie blood. Newfie blood. But we're not born there. As far as born,
that doesn't count. I'm not allowed. I'm going to ask Robert Lawson later to fact check that. I'd say that doesn't count. You're an East York legend. You can't be a Newfoundland and an East York legend. Okay, Rich. Okay. So I mean, you're only here for a short time. Hopefully, it's a good time. But you played, of course, for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays back when they were evil and they had devil in their name.
That's right.
I kind of miss the devil, right?
I know, and I actually run a program called the Ontario Devil Rays now.
Smart.
It's a travel team, and we're actually not even allowed to do Facebook ads because I have the word devil.
Isn't that ridiculous?
In our title, right?
Yeah.
So I'm proud that I play for the Devil Rays. I call myself a Devil Ray, right? Nothing wrong with that.
No, mate, every kid plays baseball. Mike, you probably dreamt of going to the majors one day.
No, good. No, baseball wasn't my DNA, but it's sort of what I want to talk about because it's come such a long way. Like when I grew up, there was we had the Expos. Obviously Gary Carter comes along, but for the most part, if you're talking about sports at the high school level, the kinds of conversations that you had, they weren't necessarily baseball ones. So if someone is going to go down that path, going to play baseball from Canada, why don't you just explain, like for you and your brother, what that was like? Because very often people, it's different than hockey, right? I mean, it doesn't really work the same way. There are some elements, but for the most part, you're going to go and hopefully you can get a full ride, somewhere south, of the border, whether it's, a Florida school, Tennessee, California, there's a lot out there, Texas. But for you making decisions at that time, like why baseball? What was the influence for you and your brother to do that? Not hockey, not.
Well, yeah, I did play hockey. I played back then. It was baseball season and hockey season. There was no baseball training facilities, right? You go all year round. It's just all year round program stuff, right? Back then you played baseball, hockey, and then school you played track and field, volleyball, all that stuff. So you just became an all-around athlete, and just kind of, for me, I think you have to love the sport first, right? So that's how I grew up. I loved baseball and I loved hockey. When I got older, when I got, I'd say around 14, I realized, I'm only AA hockey, baseball, I felt I loved a little bit more, right? Plus, I don't think I was, in hockey, you got to be like a top at 15. You know what I mean? Like it's so fast. Right? Baseball, you can develop a little more, and I didn't really know it at the time, but the time was running out for me for hockey.
Right.
So I was out of the game probably. By high school I was out. Right. Even though I loved hockey. I loved hockey.
How much older is Rob than you?
3 years.
So how does that play into things that he gets? He's got to go first, and you can kind of follow his blueprint.
He went to Team Canada.
Yeah.
Right. So Rob kind of opened the door to all the scouts. Right, we never talked about scouts. We never talked about scholarships. We just loved playing baseball, and we had rivalries against Leaside, North York, right? And the rivalry was like really heated back then, right? So It's a little bit different nowadays. And Rob made Team Canada. All of a sudden, scouts started coming to the field. Ron Runsetti, Bob Prentice, right? Yeah. They started coming to the field, and then they're asking questions. Oh, you got a younger brother, so I started getting looked at 15 years old, right? Rob was with Team Canada, right? But afterwards, Rob stayed with Team Canada and went to NBI, the National Baseball Institute in British Columbia, whatever. Anyways, the history is, whatever. So we actually signed together. So Rob didn't go pro first. We actually signed together.
Okay.
In September of 23rd, 1990, we signed together, right? So...
But see, that also brings up another point where if you were serious about it, when you're going to start specializing at a certain age, you had to travel. Like you had to go. I mean, sort of a hotbed out in Vancouver. But now, actually, we talked about my surgeon who basically saved my life, Shadi Ashamala, who's at Sunnybrook. He and another group, they just bought the Ontario Blue Jays.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Shadi yet.
Yeah, so that's a now a place to funnel that talent. There's now a pathway, much easier than when you did it.
It was really tough when we were growing up. But like I said, we never really thought about, say, pro, draft, D1, D2. We never really thought about that stuff when we were growing up because, mid-'80s.
Right.
All we thought about was we got to beat Leaside.
Right.
We got to beat North York. I got to beat Todd Betts.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I got to go against Todd Betts and all these other guys at High Park, right? And those guys. Then that's all we thought about.
Yeah.
Right. Next thing you know, a scout's coming up and saying, you should come on to this walkout tryout. Right. The Blue Jays used to have one. The Expos, the Mets used to have just walk-on tryouts back then. I don't know if they still have them anymore. I really don't know. I don't think so. Now you got to play for the Ontario Blue Jays. You got to play for the Toronto Mets and stuff like that, right?
Right.
But back then, walk-on tryout, and then I get a card from the Mets. I get a card from Texas. I get a card. this is a whole new world.
Did you think you were good enough to do this?
As a baseball player, for me personally, I always had doubt, which kind of drove me more. That makes any sense?
No, it completely makes sense.
So
Yeah.
I guess I could have had a little more confidence as a kid. Maybe I should have had a little more, I don't know, therapy or whatever. But that doubt
We'll save that
drove
for your
me.
deep dive.
That doubt drove me more to train more.
Yeah.
I was kind of a fanatic. Like back then, it was 24/7 baseball after I was 14, 15 years old.
Wow. But you made the big show. You know how many kids are out there dreaming of playing in the major leagues? You made it, buddy. You did it. You lived the dream. You're a Major League Baseball player. Like, they can never take that away from you. And here we are at beautiful Christie Pits. I'm just going to paint a scene here. Mike, you paint a beautiful scene here. I almost think, can Bob Cole paint the scene here? But, like, this is we tried twice before to do this, right, Mike?
Yeah.
And it thunderstorms and Mother Nature got in the way and we had to postpone. But this is a gorgeous day at Christie Pits.
Well, it's one of those things where, the baseball announcers who enjoy a Sunday afternoon.
I thought you were going to do Vince Scully for a minute.
Oh, boy, well,
Yeah.
it's a long, sunny day here in Christie Pits, where that ball was caught just moments ago by
good.
Rafael Hernandez, which, by the way, funny story, his mother was from Zihuatanejo and invented the popsicle. There's a pitch outside. That's strike two.
Shawshank.
That's good, Mike. We gotta talk more later about this. But I want to ask you, Rich, about your Toronto Maple Leafs career, okay?
Yeah.
I have it on good authority, and Robert Lawson can fact check me later, but you have the second highest batting average in the history of the IBL. You batted .484 during your 4 years of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes.
.484!
One season, I batted .484. Not the career, just
Oh,
the one season.
not career.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm trying to pump your tires here. Okay, but still, you had a season. Okay, so that's the second highest. Do you know who has? You don't have an idea who has the record.
My brother.
Wait a minute. Hear this? So Rob Butler hit higher than .484 in a season for the Toronto Maple
I
Leafs.
think he batted .489.
Base hit for Hamilton. Is he going for second?
Oh,
he's
no,
holding up.
he's staying.
Sorry, he's staying at first. Okay, we're going to do play-by-play too, Mike. Okay, this is, you have no idea what you're here for, Mike. But that's an amazing fun fact that you have the second highest batting average in the history of the IBL when you batted .484. So that means, like, 1 out of every 2 at-bats, you're getting on base. That's incredible, man.
That's all right, I guess.
So what was the difference going from the majors to IBL here? Because this is a very high-caliber baseball, but, you're not facing Nolan Ryan out here, right? So, like, when you were facing the Major League Baseball pitchers, when you saw these guys, you were like, oh, like, this ball's not moving the same way as it was moving in the majors? You're like, I can track this?
I don't know, not really. You know what? I never thought about...
.484 is incredible.
Yeah, that's fine, but...
Okay, he's got to beat on this.
Oh, there's a fly ball left field here. He catches it, and he's going to check the runner back.
Yeah,
Check
not
the
advancing.
Runner went halfway, and he's back to first base safe. Okay. All right.
1-0 Hamilton, by the way. We'll update you throughout the recording in the second inning. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, like, after my my professional career, I wasn't ready to give up the game of baseball. It really... Like, my whole being was to be a baseball player and to be, like, out of the game. I was kind of, I don't want to say lost or whatever like that, but I needed to stay in the game somehow, some way.
You wanted to play competitively.
I wanted to be competitive and blah blah blah. You know,
and you didn't want to join the slow pitch league with Rick Emmett.
No. I didn't want to be like a coach in affiliate ball. You know, I wasn't ready for that either.
Right.
I was only like 26 years old, 27.
Right.
So I already played like almost 11 years.
Did you feel you were too young to be out of the game, out of the majors?
I felt I was pretty young still, and you know at the time I was released from baseball was around 2001. You know, those golden years of whatever, and so I felt like I had to stay in the game somehow, and Mike Aslan, my former player here at Toronto Maple Leafs, he told me and Rob about this team, and we checked it out, and we thought it was going to be okay. Let's keep playing somehow, right? And
It's very difficult, and people who've not achieved your levels, it's hard maybe for them to understand. But nobody wants to give it up. Nobody wants to give up that routine. No one wants to give up the locker room. No one wants to give up the traveling, the guys, the whole. I mean, it's why Brett Favre was 87 years old by the time he finally had to quit, because he just didn't want people. Why would you keep going on? Because that's who you are. It's what you do. What do I got to do now? Go. Remember that recital? You're supposed to go to the recital. It's Thursday night. You got to take out the garbage. You're like, oh my God. Is this how everybody else lives?
Yeah.
Because I want the bus.
but Rich still had to take out the garbage.
And I was so used to that, like you said, that routine. I was structured, and I was built a certain way after 15 years of,
Right.
of just like being like that, boom, 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 and then all of a sudden it's gone. Right. So now what do I do? So it was kind of a real adjustment period. It took me a few years, right? But that's the reality of baseball. You're going to be cut at some point, But at the time, I wasn't ready, and then Toronto Maple Leafs filled that void for a few years, and it was great. We had fun, right? It was competitive, and the league's doing really well, and I'm really happy to be here today to watch this.
And
again.
your brother's the manager.
And Rob is the manager.
Wow.
They need to get a couple more wins under their belt, but
yeah, it's been a tough year, right?
yeah, it's been pretty tough so far. But hey, things can turn around.
Things can turn around. Do you think you and your brother should be put into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame?
That's not for me to decide. No,
But would you like it?
I would love it. Absolutely.
I'll make some calls. The trouble is I make this promise to everybody, so I can't get everybody in there. I did an episode where Russ Taylor should get in. Russ Taylor, who was calling the Expos games from 1969. I had his kids on for a Father's Day episode. I think I told your brother I was going to get him in there. We're going to get you in there too, Rich. I'm going to just make these promises. But, dude, it's amazing to have a former Blue Jay. You're in an esteemed club here. I'm going to name former Blue Jays who've actually been on Toronto Mike. Okay, your brother Rob's been on. Joe Carter's been on. Jose Batista's been on. Josh Donaldson's been on. And you've been on.
Wow.
Yeah, you're in
company.
some. Well, listen. I loved rooting for the Butlers because I'm like, these guys are from Toronto. Like, this was big, We had there's Rob Ducey, there's the Butlers. Like, these are guys that are Canadians playing for my team. That was exciting to me to see Rich Butler as a Toronto Blue Jay.
It was great to be here. I loved it.
Well, listen, man, have a left field Leafs lager before you get out of here. Appreciate this. Was this good for you?
This was great.
Okay, man.
This is great. This is fun.
Well, one day we'll do the deeper dive and we'll talk about those lost years. I want to talk to you about those lost years.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm interested.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. No one wants to talk about their lost years.
Yeah.
That's why they call them the lost years.
Those
you know what?
dark lost years.
You know what? When you're one-on-one in the basement, I'm going there, but it's like, okay, we're going to hit up a bunch of people at Christie Pits. It's not really the time to go to the lost years. But,
Yeah.
Rich, I'm coming for those lost years, buddy.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
All
But
right, well,
thanks so much. Hey, I need a picture. Do you want to take a picture of me and I'm calling Joel Goldberg, creator of Electric Circus. Oh, you use your phone. You can email it to me. All right, hold on here. We're going in here. Should I move the mic?
No, let's get the mic in there.
See, it's very rare that you in radio stop down to take a
You're
picture where
supposed to
no
do
one
play-by-play.
talks.
You're supposed to do play-by-play.
Well, it's only so exciting. But by the way, really nice to see you here today.
That was great.
Yeah,
Thank
a
you.
big fan.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's awesome. Keep going.
Go Leafs.
Hey, any chance you can come out of retirement and play for this team?
I
You look like you could hit it a ton.
I wish.
Would you like to? Because I
I
feel like
wish.
4 years. So why did you only do 4 years with the Maple Leafs? Because you only batted .484 that season.
I actually got really, really busy with running the travel teams and lessons and stuff. There was just no time. I
No
just ran
time.
out of time. Yeah.
Ran out of time. By the way, I did a little research during the conversation. That's how quick I am. It turns out, yes, your brother Rob has the record. He hit .488 one season. So you were that close. You were .484. So Rob got the World Series ring and he got the record for highest. That's bullshit.
In the last game of the season, I was hitting around, I think it was around 490 something.
Okay.
Right? Rob Patterson comes to me and says, "Hey, you're the all-time batting leader. Why don't you just take yourself out of the game?" I said, "I don't care, dude. I don't care."
Robbie
I'm just gonna keep on hitting.
Alomar once sat on the last game of the season because he was batting 299.9 or something, and he wanted to save the 300. You're a real gamer. You're like, no, I'm going out. This is like Ted Williams sitting on 400 and saying, I'm going to play tonight.
Yeah, so I went 1 for 4. My last at bat, I hit a line drive. Second baseman makes a diving catch.
Oh.
That would have gave me like 490 or
Oh, my
something.
God.
Or 495. I don't know what it was.
And shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. That guy who made the catch was never seen again.
Yeah, see? Comes in handy sometimes.
Yeah.
I think, there's a place in left field there where you can see the outline of a body buried underneath
There he
the
is.
grass.
Yeah, there
That's
he
where
is.
the guy who made this, that's where Rich put him.
See, that's
The Butler did it.
That's the advertising you want. Fatalities.
All right, Rich, you were amazing, buddy.
Thank
We
you,
got
man.
our picture. Thanks to
you.
my official photographer.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was great. Thanks.
Outstanding.
All right, so appreciate that. Yeah, just leave that. You're amazing. Rich Butler, former Toronto Blue Jay, kicks it off for us, Mr. Richards. And I should tell the listenership, though, it's not going to be all sports all the time. We're going to leave sports. We're going to talk about the Guess Who when Robert Lawson comes on. We're going to talk about Electric Circus when Joel Goldberg comes on. We have Blair Packham from the Jitters coming up. We have the guy who organized my birthday gift, which was a kayak. But let me ask you, Mike Richards, how the hell are you doing?
I'm doing good. Although I did have to fix something in the pool. I had to use
You have a pool?
rubber. Yeah.
Well, la-di-da.
Yeah, rubber cement. So I look like a leper. Like I was like,
your
people see
skin's
my
peeling.
hands. I'm like, no, it's cement. It's weird.
That's biblical, man.
It's weird, rubber, creepy. You know, I would not be a hands model today. It's like I don't know.
George Costanza was a hands model.
Yeah.
Is that right? Do you remember this?
Yeah, of course.
How's your health?
Health is very good. In fact, we talk about Shadi Ashermala, who's very involved with baseball. Leaside, his son, playing in East York, and now I said he's one of the owners of the OBJs, as they call them.
You know, I knew one of the previous owners. I know very, very well. A good FOTM.
Yeah,
So it's interesting how it's all connected.
It's we just went through what basically was 9-10 years now, and I don't think I have to have checkups anymore for all the bad stuff. We have moved on and cancer free, and it's not coming back. So I don't think I have to go for my yearly stuff anymore. They go.
Well, this is good news,
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
We all love you, man. All that matters is your health, buddy. Without your health, you have nothing, and you look great. I saw you. I said, "Oh, this guy's aging in reverse. What the hell is going on with Mike Richards?"
Rye. I don't know why people don't listen. Rye solves everything.
Do you want to tell us the status update on your professional broadcasting life? Because you came over last time you were on Toronto Mike. You came over and you announced. What did you announce exactly? The new show?
There's been so many.
Okay, give us the update. I'll shut up and listen.
There's been so many dance partners. So the last time, I announced, I'm now with this channel. Oh, I'm now with this station. I'm now with this group of guys. It has changed about 4 or 5 times simply because trying to get something done in the way I want to see it, the way that it's expected, that it hasn't worked, and generally I find it hasn't worked because you have to be in the same place at the same time with the people you're going to the dance with. Right. And I'll also be quite honest, there are some of them who now have the keys to the car, that is the ability to actually put sports broadcast on.
Who are these people? Who are these people?
Well, Game Plus Network.
Who's got the keys to these cars?
I wasted.
But that was
I thought it was a
done. I need to ask you some really hard-hitting questions, Mike.
Yeah.
I thought that was a done deal. You announced it like it was happening.
It was in Broadcast Dialogue magazine.
Okay, well,
that's normally pretty good.
That's normally pretty good. That's not quite.
So I thought it was a done deal too. But again, the people that you deal with at this point.
Did they fuck you over?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's.
This is the home of real talk. You got fucked over. Yeah. You've been fucked over a lot in your professional life.
But when you expect the outcome could possibly be that, especially now. Back in the day, it would have thrown me. But now it's a day and age of those who, again, have the ability to put something together from a television perspective. Not so much radio, because they've strangled sports radio to death. It's pretty much, it's blockbuster now. There's really no reason to talk about it. But there certainly is a lot of room to put on sports broadcast, and we don't have any. There's no host-driven television shows.
So what do you do next?
Well, this is what's coming.
You're
next.
pivoting now.
Yeah. So here comes.
So is this the announcement?
No.
But wait,
But I can tell you.
Wait a minute.
I can tell you that it is coming.
All right. So I want to welcome to the show. We're not finished with that topic, Mike Richards. Joel Goldberg, hell of an FOTM. Amongst his many, many credits, you're still at Zoomer, right, my friend?
Yes.
Amongst your many, many credits, Electric Circus. He's a creator of Electric Circus.
I know someone who was a dancer on Electric Circus.
The Cowboy.
No, John Carlos Campos. Juan Carlos, JC.
Yeah.
JC.
See, Joel would know that name. Joel. So Joel also directed many a great video in his time, not just Shuffle Demons, but Maestro Fresh West. Do you remember the video for Let Your Backbone Slide?
Of course, it was groundbreaking.
Do you remember the video for Drop the Needle?
I have a funny bad story that should never be told about it, but yes, I do know that.
Let's hear it. Can we hear it?
Well, no, because it led to a very bad stalking incident, which
Oh.
See, for some reason you seem to really enjoy the
No, I don't enjoy
the end of
stalking.
days stories.
I didn't know where that was going.
The down and out guys drinking themselves to death in Las Vegas. They're like, let's talk more about that.
Well, I think we should talk more about the darkness. We're always talking about the light, and then people listen and think, oh, no one else is in the dark.
I live in the dark. Without the dark, there would be no Mike Richards.
You adopted the dark. I was born into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And sadly still continue to kind of dance with it.
Okay, but you always have a place to share here on Toronto Mike while you fix. You're not announcing anything, just that there's something.
But it is
to
coming
announce.
in the fall.
And is it? Can I ask? Like, is
television?
Is it a
TV?
But TV, like the traditional television.
Yes, like to pick up the remote and click on it, and you'll see me.
So this is for boomers.
No.
I feel like, is it also on the internet? You can also stream this.
You're talking like one of those seers of those seance people. I see 4-leaf clovers. What does that
trying
mean?
to narrow it down.
Yes.
Okay, but it's also, is it a podcast?
No. Well, it could be.
It might be a podcast.
I just need to find someone who could do that for me. I don't know who that could be.
You know, I do that, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to write that down.
Write that down, Mike Ridge. That's literally what I do.
Yes, but
okay.
It's going to be television first, and then whatever else we need to support it, which is probably that. But I can figure that out later.
And you can't name who you're, like what network or
because
anything.
it's different. I can say that one of them is in the States, and it will be Fox.
Wait, is that true? Or you Josh?
You push me to an area so that I end up sounding like Trump.
Joel, you're
That's
a TV
the problem.
guy. Joel's
Yeah.
a TV guy.
Everything Mike said was true, too, about this day and age with broadcast. It's tough.
So why not just cut him out? I don't have a partnership with any broadcast. Zoomer never knocked on my door.
Nope. I bet you did it right. You did it the right way for this day and age.
But Mike Richards is, and we'll pretend like he's not here. He's in this day and age. We're talking now.
And he's got a name, too.
It's July 2024. Why does Mike Richards need a broadcasting partner?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well,
Like, just cut them out.
Yeah.
Just, you have the internet. You could be a YouTube show and a podcast. Okay?
But it still won't drive the numbers like someone sitting down and clicking on a television and seeing that. Now, it can work, in relationship
Do you
with the
think
other
Joe
thing.
Rogan's on television?
Yeah, but Joe's a little more famous than me.
Okay, but you have a name in this market.
Yeah, but you have to find a way that fits. Okay, put it this way. If you want to do a sports podcast, how many are those?
There's a lot of
1,000?
Sure. There's
I don't know. And so there's really no money in it. There's no money in
but
being.
But they're not Mike Richards, right? Your ace in the hole is that you're Mike fucking Richards.
But it doesn't matter when you go to Molson. They're like, okay, well, how many? Okay, so if you have, you have to explain it.
Okay, forget Molson. Go to left field. Go to Great Lakes Brewery. Look, I'm not here to. I'm here to say you have content that many people desire, and you don't need some big old media partner to fuck you over.
Except, hold on.
Because they fuck you over so many times.
Yes, correct. Which is why this approach, when I announce it, you'll see why it's different.
Will you announce it on Toronto Mic'd? Will you come back? Will you drive to the basement?
I'm going to do it on Zoom. You know what? Just to piss you, I'm going to do it on Zoomer.
All right,
Zoomer
we're ready.
Radio.
You're going to do it. Joel, what are you up to these days, buddy?
Well,
we'll
we've
get back
got
to Mike. I have a lot more questions.
Season 7 of your all-time classic hit parade is coming back.
Okay, and remind people what exactly that
Vision
is.
TV every Friday night at 8:30. We have an amazing band and amazing singers, and we perform songs from the Great American Songbook.
Okay.
And it's the highest rated.
That's a fantastic
in-house
idea.
producer.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Check it out.
Is Let Your Back
I love
Go
that.
Slide on that playlist?
No hip hop. But I keep in touch with Wes. He's had a great year.
Yeah, his name's come up over the last year.
Yep. The Juno Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Governor General's Award. He's
having a moment.
He's having his moment.
We worked hard for that, right?
Which he deserves. Absolutely. He's a great guy.
I remember going to that show at Nathan Phillips Square. What was it called? Something of the Six. Legends of the Six?
Yeah. It was Dream Warriors, Michie.
Yeah.
I worked with all of them back in the day.
You did. I know. And I was there, and I saw you and your brother there.
Yeah. That's
I see you're rocking the Guardians shirt.
I'm a
proud Cleveland boy.
Gotta love the Guardians, man. The third lowest payroll in the league and the best record in the American League.
See, we took guys from Cleveland, and we don't have the same results here. But I will go ahead.
Those two were awful in Cleveland. You're talking about Atkins and
Shatkins.
Yeah, Shatkins.
I would I root against the Jays because I need those two removed.
Yeah. We turned when they left, and Tito Francona came to the Guardians. it's success after success after success. 6 division titles,
But he
World
did
Series.
realign the seats at the Dome. Right. And there's more places to drink there, but still no Great Lakes.
I said a water. Someone said a water and a hamburger was $30. Are you kidding me?
I believe that.
Are you
I
kidding
easily
me?
believe that. Oh yeah. So I I was just at the game a couple of Sundays ago because my daughter bought me tickets for Father's Day, and
She bought you tickets. She work at a bank.
she wanted a footlong, okay? And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy you a footlong or whatever. But yeah, just the footlong, like, we were talking $18 or something like that, right? This is like a hot dog, okay? Hey, we talk Cleveland, so
No Cleveland, no Bowie.
Hey,
whose voice is that, Joe?
That's my homeboy, Michael Williams. I love the man.
Love that guy.
Those were great days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No Cleveland.
Yeah,
no.
we all grew up in that little playground that Moses built. You know, Much Music, City TV. That's where I grew up.
299 Queen Street.
Yeah, and 90. I was at 99.
You were at
too.
99.
I remember '99.
Yeah.
That was. It was the Wild West, right? You could create something because you were promoted that way to do it, and he took guys who took chances. That's what I miss. That's honestly what I miss is, people out there creating on the fly and taking a chance. Now it's the up. Everyone's afraid.
That's
as
right.
you know. Everybody's afraid. They want
to look like everybody else, and they think they're going to get fired the next day. I used to go in there when I was producing Toronto Rocks. I'd grab a camera, hit the streets, shoot a couple things, hit the edit bay, and by 5 o'clock put it on the air. I mean, and the freedom that he created for all these young kids running around. We're a bunch of brats.
So was that the John Major days, or is this Brad?
I took over at the very end of John.
Yeah.
And most of my work was with Brad, but they're both amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, and Brad is just like one of the most solid guys
Great
of
man.
all time.
He's been on Toronto Mike too.
Has he?
Yeah.
Did you know Giffen is a fake name? I get
Look, I'm
emails
sick
from
of
this-
your
I get
little
emails from-
trivia, your little interesting points.
Or no, maybe it's the other way around. I don't know, but he has a different last name when I get emails from him. I can't tell which one's the fake one, which one's not here. But yeah, he's an FOTM, much like you two fine gentlemen. All right, so Joel, how hands-on is Moses at the Zoomerplex these days, or has he stepped aside?
He's incredibly engaged.
Really?
And you still get daily.
I met him.
emails from
I met him at that Electric
That's
Circus.
right, the Electric Circus.
yeah.
And the thing about that is that there is a team, a production team,
Yeah.
who are producing an Electric Circus documentary.
Okay,
The
this
history
is the
of
guy
Electric
who
Circus.
we just dropped the needle like
Yes.
10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And so the gentleman who produced that great play to record documentary.
Great doc. Yeah.
And his name
Rob
is
Freeman.
Rob Freeman. So I've met
Oh, he
him
does. Yeah, that's fantastic work. Yeah.
And Neil Artura was the writer, and he's going to be the writer for the Electric Circus too.
Okay, I got a question about Electric Circus. So the weird thing about Electric Circus is it's kind of a Bell and Rogers thing, right? Because like City TV is Rogers and Much Music is Bell. So who do you which overlord do you have to deal with? Both of them?
That's a really good question.
I'm
Well, I
Really good
never thought.
question.
See,
When
that I can gut with that
Yeah.
question.
When we started Electric Circus, it was on City TV,
Right.
and it moved over to
Shout out
Much.
to the Cowboy.
Yes.
Should we tell Mike who the Cowboy is?
Yeah, and his son.
So Cowboy, one of the most famous dancers
I'd
from
say
those
the
early
most
years.
famous.
The most famous. Okay, his name is Kenrick Pompey. K. Pompey. He released an excellent song. I still spin it periodically called Summertime, Summertime. 12-inch single, okay? K. Pompey, it's funny because it all ties into the IBL, which is the league where literally we got the best seats in the house, by the way. I want to ask you about that in a minute, Joel. But K. Pompey he went on to father, after he was a cowboy dancer, 2 great ball players, one of whom played for the Toronto Blue Jays. Dalton Pompey.
Oh,
So Dalton Pompey's dad.
I didn't even dawn on me when you said that.
Yeah, Dalton Pompey's dad was the cowboy dancer on Electric Circus.
Wow.
His mind's not blowing like it should be. There should be
but you have to
good
realize
brains everywhere.
Electric Circus probably wasn't exactly in my.
Yeah, he's a
field.
metalhead. He's a metalhead.
Yeah, I would have been watching the Metal Hour and
Right.
Gallagher Show.
Yeah,
Dan Gallagher. No, not John. No,
that's
Oh, Test Pattern.
Yeah, Test
I worked on that as
Test
well.
Pattern was hilarious.
It was a great show, and
Yeah, it was great.
he's a wonderful guy to work with
Oh
too.
man, shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. Gone far too soon. Gone far too soon here.
Wow, that
So
was.
Joel, can I ask you more questions about this documentary? So,
Yes.
how far along are we in the? And is there any role in this documentary for the FOTM Hall of Famer known as Retro Ontario?
Oh yeah, well it came to be because of Mr. Retro Ontario, Ed and I were watching some old Electric Circus stuff that he was digitizing for me, and I said, you know what, I'm really interested in doing a doc, and I want to direct it, because that's what I do now. I direct documentaries.
And you're very good at it.
Thank you. And then Ed said, I don't think you should do it. You're too close to it. You're part of the story. You shouldn't be directing it. And he said, I want you to look at this documentary called Drop the Needle.
Yep.
And I did, and I thought it was fantastic. And we arranged a meeting with Rob and Neil, and we went and had some beers, and that's where
Great Lakes beer? Just pretend.
Of course. Octopus.
Yeah, they drank it at Ridley's funeral home.
All right, continue.
And so then Rob got in touch with Lana Morrow, who was the producer for the Robbie Robertson doc. And they are now in the
Once
process.
We're Brothers? Is that the
Yes.
one? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very good too.
She also did Hip Hop Nation with Banger Media.
Yes.
And that's where we're at right now. Is that they're in the fundraising portion, but it's going to happen. And
So
it's
good, but
exciting.
So will you have to get clearance from Bell and Rogers to make this happen? I know we kind of didn't quite address that.
Yes. I mean, we're not at that
Good
point.
luck with
but
that,
yes.
Mr. Goldberg. That sounds like hell on earth.
Well, I mean, look what happened to the Much Music documentary.
Do you have any insight into that? Because it was promoted by Crave as debuting on a Friday.
Right.
It did not debut on a
Right.
Friday. I feel like it's Ron Howard's voice in Arrested Development.
The producers did not do their due diligence. They didn't pay for
They didn't
music.
clear for the... But can't he just re-edit it?
That would cost a ton of money.
I don't know these
and he's
things.
already out of a lot of money because
He mortgaged his home to do the Roy Thompson Hall thing, right?
Yeah, apparently.
So, like, he's an FOTM too, and
Yeah.
I root for the creative guys who take big swings, right? Like Sean Menard is his name.
Yeah, well, I was in the doc. He's a great guy. He interviewed me. I thought it was good. I went to the Roy Thompson Hall thing.
Yeah.
You got to do your due diligence when you do documentaries.
He consulted a lawyer, apparently like an American lawyer, and
That's
it's different
right.
here.
Okay, so but for those that don't know
Yeah,
the
let's
issue,
bring Mike Richards into. I feel like
what
we're
is the
inside
issue
baseball.
with the Much Music doc?
There are musical sequences that were shot at Much Music that he used in the documentary, but he didn't clear the rights to it. And there's a U.S. lawyer that he was consulting, and the U.S. lawyer said, "Go ahead, it's fair use. It's context."
Yep.
And it's not the same in Canada as it is in the United States. So he took some bad advice, and that's where we're at now.
So-
I hope it does get shown on Crave at some point.
It's funny. I was talking to somebody who I won't even drop his name, but an FOTM who's kind of in the know and all this stuff, and like sort of like on the Monday. So it was supposed to air on Crave on the Friday. So I was naturally curious. I'd seen it with you at the Roy Thompson Hall,
Right.
But I was curious to watch this thing on demand, and it never arrived. So of course now I'm very interested in like what went wrong. And he's like, "Oh, they got to clear up some licensing stuff. It'll probably be delayed a week." Okay. So that was a long time ago. That week is a long one. So it sounds like this is going to have to be traded on VHS cassettes in back alleys. Okay. Well, meet me in the back alley, grab Graffiti Alley, and I'll sell you a VHS cassette of this 299 Queen Street. What did you think of the 299 Queen Street?
I thought it was pretty good, and people should see it. I would like people to see it.
Did you notice a lot of that early footage, although promoted as Bell Media opening up the library? I noticed a lot of that early footage was from the personal collection of Ed Conroy.
That's right, Retro Ontario.
So think about
Yeah.
that for a minute. Ed's doing more to preserve the early years of Much Music than Bell Media was able to.
He is, and that's a whole nother issue. It's a huge issue. Apparently, they were going to start digitizing all those archives, and I think that's not happening. I don't know. I'm out of that loop, but it's a shame.
Who's digitizing the early years of the Mike Richards morning show on 1050 TSN radio?
I used to listen to that all the time.
Yeah, they've lost those tapes. They've somehow
They recorded some old
But here's
Blue movies.
They
on
had
those.
such balls. They were promoting some other product or something, some internal thing or whatever, and they used me in it. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm the guy you fired who had the highest ratings. Post-firing. I'm the guy with the highest ratings who you took my job away when I was having a bowel resection, when I had cancer. Then you get rid of me.
So fucking cold.
And then you use my footage to promote a product? I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is what you deal with. What I miss, what I really miss, because we could probably go back almost the same time.
Probably.
See, I love Chum. Chum was my home. The Waters family, I cry every time. See, I thought everything, because it was my first job. Back 1985, 86, I thought my whole life would be like it was at Chum. And boy, was I wrong. Because everyone doesn't have that sense of humanity. The dignity of how you treat people, I thought existed just like it did at Chum. And of course,
it didn't.
Very quickly.
I felt the same way at Chum Television. A city much. Every project I did, it was just a little family, and it was a blast. I thought the rest of my life. Next thing you know, Bell took over, and one by one, everybody got got laid off.
Yep. But hey, let's talk. I said, let's talk. Oh God, I called it a beard. When I said it is a corporate beard. So then they can gas everybody that they don't want to pay.
All right. By the way, I want to just point out, I could reach out and grab him right now. Is Marc Weisblott, 12:30? Are you going to come on the mic today? Yeah. Why? Why are you withholding your services from Toronto Mic'd? He's shaking his head. Joe, give play by play.
I thought he was Secret Service for a while. Because they never think it's going to be those guys.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He's actually kind of our heavy here on Toronto Mic. So, Mark, you're here, but you're not going to come on the mic. What's it going to cost me?
Another beer.
He won't even. He's gesturing here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get Blair on.
That works well on radio.
After Joel, I'll get Blair on. Yeah, he's
Hey,
playing.
Blair, how you doing?
Do you know Blair Packham?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, old school.
So, how come the Jitters were never played on Electric Circus? What's going on there?
Well, it's that's not hardcore
You're
dance.
Next, though. You're next.
The Jitters were a phenomenal band. They were more, roots rock, that type of thing.
No, I know. I was just joshing you. So how can people help make this Electric Circus thing, and how can you get Monica Diol on Toronto Mic'd? Those are the two questions.
Oh, Monica would love to do it. But
I've had personal conversations where she seems very into it until that moment of I slide into her DMs and say, hey, why don't we pick a day and time? And then suddenly she's busy.
I'll talk to her.
Yeah, she has shown. I was a weird time where she was in town for a few things, and I bumped into her like 3 times. And what's this controversy here? I'm just watching the game here. By the way, Joel, what do you think of the baseball?
I love it. This is a perfect day for it too. I grew up with baseball in Cleveland, of course.
You're from Cleveland? So back to the important subject.
Monica, by the way, is attached to the doc. She's
Is she attached to the doc the way Erica M was attached to 299 Queen West?
No, she's Monica's in it. She has to be. She's
tough
the star.
To do that doc without her.
Yeah.
Even though you know who the original host was. Well, I know you know.
Well, it's Monica and Mike Williams.
Michael Williams. Yeah, Michael Williams. Is he part of this?
I'm sure he will be at some point in time. But
no Cleveland, no Bowie.
The show was created by Moses as a vehicle for Monica. So, but Monica and Michael.
Was she there for the first episode?
Yes.
Okay, so it's Michael and her.
Oh yeah.
And at some point, Michael's just, hey, you can do other things.
Michael,
we got this.
Michael had Soul in the City, had Rap City, had all this other stuff. So he was very busy.
Do you know who introduced Maestro Fresh West to the to Stevie B? Do you have the authority on that story? Michael Williams is taking credit for that intro. Can you speak to that? You heard that episode, right?
Well, he's my home. Yeah, I
know you're going to be gentle here, but
he's my homeboy. If he said it,
no, but you were there, right?
I was in the basement when all that happened. All I know is that Stevie B asked me who represents him. I said, the big guy who's right behind him, Farley Flex.
Of course, FOT.
He represents him. If you want to talk to somebody, talk to him. So I don't know. Maybe afterwards, Mike introduce them. I don't know.
Okay, well, Mike doesn't look like a bullshitter.
No,
we'll take his word.
Absolutely not. He's he's a Cleavelander.
All Clevelanders,
we don't lie.
Clevelanders don't even know the definition of the word lie.
That's right.
Right, Mike?
We know lay.
Yeah. Well, if you're a Browns fan, you might feel differently about it.
Well, when was your last? Oh, I forgot. LeBron did deliver. Okay, so LeBron delivered a championship for
2016.
The Cavaliers. So if we put that aside, which is kind of like saying if you put the Raptors championship in 2019 aside, when was the last major championship for Cleveland, if we put that aside?
48 for the Indians, and now the Guardians, and 64 for the Browns.
So that's actually worse than Toronto, because Toronto, we have a 219, same thing. Right. We got an NBA championship 2019. I said 219. Like, what the hell is that? 2019. But if you put that aside, we have to go back to 93.
Right.
Which sounds amazing compared to 48.
Oh, yeah. And what about...
the manager of this team was on that 1993 World Series team.
What about the Leafs? The Leafs is 67.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, people can't see this, but I believe the children are revolting against a higher power, and I think
don't go anywhere. You're next.
I think it has something to do with Trudeau. I got to be honest.
Okay.
I can't read what it says on the flag,
So,
but
Joel,
maybe I can't
how
read
can
that.
we help make this documentary on
Well, there's not much we could do yet. We're still waiting to hear from some funding bodies to see if we got money. And the minute it happens, I'll let you know.
You going to come on Toronto Mike to announce it? The
You
same
got
day
it.
maybe Mike Richards announces his new
I'll do that.
venture.
I'll do
I just
that.
want announcements always made on Toronto Mike. That's what I asked for.
I will promise you, the minute I hear, I'll announce it on Toronto Mike.
Do you want to introduce you introduce Blair Packham,
Yeah.
Joel, and then you give him your headset.
Okay, Blair, come on over. One of the greatest Canadian musicians ever. And one of my favorite bands back in the day, the
I
Jitters.
said Blair, not Rick Emmett.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geddy Lee.
Landed on perfect.
There you go.
Thank you.
Mike, do you know the Jitters?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, likewise.
Can you sing with me Red Hot Fools? Would you sing that with me?
No.
Must have
I'll
been
see you
crazy,
soon.
Yeah.
played it hot.
There-
Should have played it cool.
I'm trying to think. In the video, there was a pal of mine from Ryerson who ended up faking the keyboards in one of the videos.
Yes, it
Well,
was
Blair knows.
Paul Greenberg.
Paul Greenberg.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you know what he's doing now?
No, is he in L.A.? I don't know.
He's in L.A.
Yeah.
and he works with oh God, I've forgotten his name now.
Well, Vito's down there. You're talking about and Karen Evans and Vito. They're all
Yeah.
part of the
Vacant Lot.
The Vacant Lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Did the Vacant Lot do Mr. Canoe Head, or is that
No.
That's
No.
Four on the
No.
Floor. maybe.
no, that was Peter.
Okay, sorry. But Mark
yeah.
McKinney's
Wildman.
brother is in the Vacant Lot.
yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Nick McKinney.
Yeah, he likes to be known as Mark McKinney's brother. Though.
Well, I did remember his name, Nick McKinney.
Yeah.
And they had the Sex Pistols theme song, Pretty Vacant.
yes. Yeah.
What's with all the trivia on the show? I got to be
Are
honest.
you
it's
new to Toronto, Mike?
It's
Yeah.
It's a little annoying. It's a
Blair-
little off-putting.
Blair, what do you think of it?
Oh, I love it.
Is that true, or is it? 'cause
No,
I'll mute you.
because I was. I love it, but it is a function of your ADHD.
Okay, wait. Deep flight. Hold on. Let's see here. Watch.
Oh,
Oh no, he didn't make the
He did
catch,
not
and he
make the
was
catch.
slow out of the box. I don't know if he tripped coming back, but he only got a single out of that.
I thought that was
feel
Vladdy
like-
for a second.
I know he does have Vladdy's old hair because Vladdy got a haircut.
Yeah,
You know,
I know. I saw that.
Best news to come out of the Toronto Blue Jays team in 2024. Vladdy got a haircut, I guess. Okay, so Blair, nice to see you.
nice to see you too, Mike.
How are things? I know you listened to the Ron James episode, and then it prompted. You don't have to give any secret details, but it prompted a lovely exchange between you and Ron James.
Well, Ron James is one of the good guys. He's a great guy, and I've known him not very well for many years. So, you know.
But he and you had a lovely exchange thanks to you. You know, sending him a note after hearing him on Toronto.
Yeah, and I just said how much I enjoyed it, and I'm going to say something. I enjoyed hearing about his multiple homes, but I was joking. I was needling
Yeah,
him.
because that was
Yeah.
my joke,
Yes,
right?
and so I figured
I joked that he
yeah.
had multiple homes.
Yes, and
'Cause
he's sensitive about this, and I think if anybody deserves multiple homes, it's Ron James. He's worked really hard, and he's so talented.
He talks so
you know.
fast, he could probably talk in all the homes at the same time.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm glad
He's a great guy.
to have FOTM Blair Packham and FOTM Mike Richards on the mic at the same time, because I'm hoping we could spend a moment or two talking about Bob Makowitz Sr.
Yes.
Now, we'll start with you, Mike. You worked for Bob, right?
Yeah, eventually I did when he was asked to come in and run the fan.
Right.
And people would have thought, well, why would you bring in one of the most brilliant sort of minds that you've seen for FM radio, for the classic rock radio format?
Q107.
But
for music.
And now he makes this leap. So I finally get, I mean, I'd known him for years, but I now get to work with this man. And, you know, it should never be sold short. And you had just mentioned about being one of the good guys.
Yeah.
Because we don't have enough of them anymore. It's like you know, every time I see like Rob Salem will say something, you know, on Facebook or whatever, I'm like,
FOTM Rob Salem.
God, I miss people like that. You know, I do miss the solid people, and I've used this word already on this program, but it's the humanity that I miss.
Yeah.
You know, so this dignity that you give people, this respect, and then the encouragement to do something that someone else hasn't done before.
Yep.
So he was always as brilliant as he was, and trust me, he was a brilliant guy. But he always wanted to be surprised by someone else coming up with something that he thought was entertaining or he thought was different, or whether it was even spoken word or a band.
Yeah.
Because he could turn that switch and go back into his mental archives, which is deep and wide, and then somehow tie it together intellectually that just you could just sit there and I would just listen to him.
Yeah.
With that long neck. So I said, that's a long neck you got there. And we had so many great moments, and it just always reminds you that you think you have all the time in the world. And I thought we probably very shortly, because I haven't seen him in a long time, would sit down and have a beer.
Yeah.
You're going to sit down and talk with this guy, and you just never know. It was crushing when I saw the news. It was certainly crushing for the industry. I'm not sure if people beyond the Q107 sort of scope realize that he may have been one of the greatest radio executives that we've ever seen in this country.
In this country, yeah. I agree.
So, Blair, did you know him from Q107?
I knew him initially as a fan when I first started listening to Q107, and and I was just an admirer of the work that he did. But then I met him through my band, and when we were in the Q107 contest and so forth, and
Right.
he was just a great guy. He was again one of the good guys, as you say.
Homegrown was the name of that.
Homegrown contest.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Homegrown contest.
I think Honeymoon Suite. There's a little trivia for you. Were
Yeah.
they the first winners? Where were you on
Have
that
you not
one?
heard Honeymoon Suite?
Where were you on that one?
It was
No,
so
see, now
obvious.
you're
I didn't waste
backtracking.
my energy on that one, Mike. Honeymoon Suite.
See, now it's turning into Trump and Biden. You didn't know.
Honeymoon.
He doesn't know where he is. He's searching for something to say. He doesn't know what he's doing.
By the way, while we were talking about the legend that was Bob Macko, Sr. By the way, Bob Macko Jr. is an FOTM. Bob Macko Sr., I always wanted to get on Toronto Mike, but he somehow escaped me. I don't know how he managed to do that. But while we were chatting, there was a great bang bang play at the plate where the Maple Leafs did get the Hamilton guy out at the plate. But it's really, I'm just...
What is that game going on over there?
the baseball game.
Oh, it's a baseball game.
I'm just waiting for the children to revolt
But you see,
again. I don't know what that
you see the
was.
hill.
Yeah, that was scary.
It's so sunny that everybody's trying to find the shade from the trees.
Yeah.
So every time there's shade from trees, everybody's like right beside each other.
It
kinda
is funny
collecting.
to look at.
Yeah. It's like everyone's desperate for shade out there on the hill.
It reminds me of you probably played enough of these, but I love the outdoor gigs. They have 4 or 5 bands on a bill, no matter where it was. You must have had a ton of great moments of places that
like
kinda,
this, yeah,
like this.
yeah. I have 2 memories of outdoor gigs that I'll share with both of you. One of them was playing at the I think is it the Western Fair in London?
Yes.
And it was at the end of the summer, and it happened to be a cool night, and I was sweating because I do, and when I was playing, and my head started giving off steam in the lights, and so I said to the audience, other bands spend a lot of money on pyro and effects, and we just have steam head. And my band laughed and then started chanting steam head, and then the audience started chanting it. The other memory is playing at Freedom Fest in Windsor, so with Detroit across the river, and it was shadfly season. So as I'm singing some long note in some song, a shadfly flew right in my mouth.
Oh no!
Yeah, wasn't good. So those are my outdoor gig memories. But yes, I sure love those outdoor gigs.
Yeah.
But otherwise, amazing. So, Blair, you're not a big baseball fan.
No, it doesn't mean I don't like it. Just don't know much about it. I like to go to a Jays game once or twice a year.
But you can recognize decent baseball versus bad baseball.
This is decent baseball. These guys can play.
Yeah, and I love the idea that, no ticket required, right, Mike? Like you can just come here on a beautiful sunny Sunday. You can just drop by.
But
yeah.
I had to park so far away.
Where did you park?
I don't know if they're English-speaking people. I have no idea where they're...
So I biked here today, but I did drive here on Mother's Day, which was the first day we recorded live from Christie Pits, May 12th. And I parked on that street I'm pointing to right now.
Yeah, there was no
parking.
chance. I'm by a place called Farm Fiesta.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Fiesta Farms.
Fiesta Farms.
Yeah.
Fiesta Farms.
Okay, that's a long way off?
Very popular grocery store in this neighborhood.
I'm going in.
Yeah.
I'm going
apparently
in.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not a sponsor, so we'll be going to Palma's Kitchen. I do know.
Where is Anthony,
Mike's
by
a
the
big
way?
fan.
Yeah, where is
He's
Anthony?
not here. I'm looking around, but I actually wanted Palma Pasta to be the official food vendor of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Like I pitched that, and it just never came to be.
Well, you'd have to serve the lasagna. I mean,
Lasagna in the middle of summer.
Yeah, that might be a tough one.
Yeah.
Well,
But
they
it
do.
was
They
good
do
at-
the Taste of Little Italy. I was.
Yeah,
at the
that's
Taste
true.
of Little Italy
And
the
it
other
was
day.
at TMLX, and the pasta was fantastic.
Blair, thank you for coming. I actually did not expect to see you at TM. I know Mike has a long drive, so I didn't expect to see Mike at TMLX 15. But Blair, I didn't expect to see you because I knew you had a gig that night. And when
Yeah.
I saw you there with your your lady friend,
My lady friend,
is it
Janet
right?
Van de Graaff.
Yes, who future FOTM
Yes.
Janet Van de Graaff. I was like mind blowing because I didn't expect to see you, but it was great to see you.
Well, I
on,
thought we would
my
surprise
birthday.
you. Yeah.
I was very surprised.
Yeah.
And
It
you were
was-
there
it
in
was
time
fun.
for the speeches.
Yep.
And
And you
because-
were very emotional.
Well, I did get emotional, but it
Yeah.
was unrecorded, so I felt very free to be
Yeah.
emotional.
Well, there would have been echo all over.
You miss it,
anyway.
you miss it. That's only if we let El Grego do it. Shout out to FOTM. El
Was there
Grego.
trivia? Did you drop in some trivia while you were crying?
Any fun
While
facts?
he was crying. You know.
Richard, you didn't do that on your radio show? No fun facts or mind blows? No. you-
Oh,
I
I
hate
want to. I want to recreate the Jane Siberry fun fact moment, if we could. No, Mike had a fun fact, and
I think it's a. Can I tell Mike the fun fact?
yes,
He can tell us
please.
it's a fun fact?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know Jane Siberry, the singer?
Yes.
One of her biggest hits. Who are they booing here? Hold on. What was that?
It was a home
Home
run.
run. And, was it to right field? Because when they do hit a ball to left, I'm going to leave the mic and go try to catch the ball.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a Toronto Maple Leafs have hit a home run, but it was to right field, so we didn't get a chance to catch it. But Jane Siberry, and now what is the score? I'm looking up there. My nice eye. 1-0, if I'm reading that correctly.
Good
okay.
God, how can you see that?
Yeah. Really.
My young 50-year-old eyes. Okay, so Jane Siberry had a big hit with Meet Me on the Beach.
Oh,
Meet Me
yeah.
on the Beach. Meet Me on the Beach.
I
okay.
remembered the song.
The video for Mimi on the Beach was directed by a guy, I believe his name is Richard Oleksiak. Richard would go on, sort of like the cowboy dancer, going on to Father Dalton and the other Tristan Pompey. Blair's waiting for the punchline here.
No,
but
I'm just like.
Richard
what are those
Oleksiak, who
references?
directed Mimi on the Beach, would go on to father the most decorated Olympian in the
Right.
history of this country, Penny Oleksiak, who will be in Paris running some relay races. I guess they're swims. Do you race? I guess you're racing. You're swims.
Yeah.
So Penny Oleksiak's father directed Mimi on the Beach for Jane Siberry. So have you soaked all that in yet?
Yes.
Just, I'll give you a moment.
That was a long way to go for that.
There's more.
Oh, no.
So Mike
This
says.
is like a Norm Macdonald bit.
So Mike says.
You left the light on.
Mike says to Jane Siberry, that he recites what he just said, and he goes, "That's a fun fact. Isn't that a fun fact?" And Jane, who has been silent through all of this, goes, "No, actually, I don't think that's a fun fact."
I don't think that's interesting. I don't think that's a fun fact. And then, of course, I'm unable to let it go and proceed.
That was the funny part.
I have to revisit it.
Because I love Jane, and I think it's
You hooked me up with Jane.
yeah, and I think it's excellent that if she didn't think it was a fun fact, she just said so.
Yeah, she's not
you know.
going to tell you what you want to hear.
But the fact that you had to try and
I couldn't proceed, and I stopped down, and I'm like, even if you don't give a shit about sports, you can still acknowledge that
How
as
can that not be a
that's
fun
a fun
fact?
Because Mike, you are now going to make your ruling.
Yes.
Is that a fun fact?
The Siberry one?
No, the fact that the director of Mimi on the Beach would go on to father the most decorated Olympian in the history
But
of
I
Canada.
think you're saying it because you like to emphasize most decorated. That's why you're saying it.
So
It's not actually
How
the
else?
fact that...
How else would you say it?
Well, I said the most decorated. And then what she does, actually.
The human who has
person.
won more medals
Yes.
than any other Canadian in the history of the Olympic Games.
Too bad, though, it's a pool event. Not big on it.
But you know what? This is going to be the summer of summer. Summer McIntosh is going to make you forget the name Penny Oleksiak, okay? I'm just shouting this out now,
the one who makes
okay?
the toffee. Yes. This I can get with.
Okay, Mike Richards.
I only want to see the track, mostly in the basketball.
I love all the Olympics. I'll watch shit. I'll never watch it for any at
kayak
any
stuff?
moment. I'll watch the Adam
Like the
Vancouver
canoe
and
stuff's got to go.
I'm a
that's what
kayaker, you know, I have to watch it.
That's what people do at the cottage after a couple of beers. I don't need to see it on TV.
Blair, as a non-sports person, will you tune into the Olympics?
no, not deliberately. No, but
I'm gonna watch so much fucking Olympics.
It's just my reality. Like with broadcast TV, I could be flipping around and something could attract me. I could think, oh wow, I want to see this. But honestly, without that, I just would never see it. It would
That's-
never cross my mind.
See, and that's why, for those that get the, how do I call it, the IPTV, the Fire Stick where you can get every channel known to man.
Right.
There is
Pirates.
there is a a Van Halen. There's a couple of Van Halen channels, but one of them is just guys who pulled out like cameras and recorders. There's stuff that, so the quality's really bad.
Yeah.
But, it'll be from like 1980 or 1980 or whatever.
Right.
On some concert and all of a sudden something you've never seen before. Maybe David Lee Roth hitting all his marks. But it's just phenomenal even though you can get by the quality. There's Eddie and the boys playing.
That would be fascinating.
It is.
That would be fascinating. Yeah.
Blair, what do you think the odds are that your former CIUT colleague, Marc Weisblott, would pop on the mic for a moment?
Do
you remember being on the air with him?
Yeah, I have vivid memories of being on. We used to do a show together. And I'm lying, completely lying. Okay, I'm going to come clean. I was only saying that we were on the air together to needle Mark. That's all, because he's 10 years younger than me. It did. Yeah, I could tell he got agitated, and you'd bring it up, and then he'd get agitated. And but I want to come clean.
We used to record 3 hours a month together.
That's right.
And now I can't get him on this mic for 2 minutes. Would you do 2 minutes before Robert Lawson? You maybe even introduce Robert Lawson, who's been waiting patiently in the wings. Would you? Will Mark? I'm asking now, Robert. Robert, will Mark introduce you?
There you go.
That's a yes. Okay. Blair, so what's going on in your life? Anything? How are things going? Like, I don't know. Give us a little update here before you disappear.
Well, things are good. I've got a show with Scott and Scooter. That's my comedy music show with Janet Van de Graaff on the 27th of July.
Who's very talented.
Who is very talented. And we're doing the Scott and Scooter show.
What day?
In a backyard on Saturday, the 27th of July.
What backyard?
I don't know.
Is it my backyard?
No, it's not.
Should I know about it?
It's.
You could do it right here at Christie Pits.
You can look it up under Community Outwitch.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's it's a gathering place, and it'll be fun.
Okay, Blair Packham, thanks so
There you
much,
go.
buddy. Remember to go to recyclemyelectronics.ca on the daily when you have the old tech, the old electronics, the old cables, and you need to know where to recycle them so the chemicals don't end up in our landfill. Mark's in 2 minutes. You'll be fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Blair. You're amazing.
Nice meeting you, Blair.
Nice to meet you.
That was a pleasure.
Yeah, it really was.
So this is very special because in 2024, this voice has not been heard on the Toronto Mike airwaves, and I'll bet you Mike Richards has no idea this greatness he's in the presence of right now. Marc Weisblott, welcome back to Toronto Mike.
The amount of harassment that I was on the receiving end of
When,
at
today?
TMLX 15, your 50th birthday party.
Yeah, thanks for being there, buddy.
At GLB.
It's good to see you there.
People wondering, when are you going back on Toronto Mike? And my
frequently asked
reaction
question.
is, he has not invited me. And
you
your
think-
response
really?
is, I'm the one who has to tell you when I'm coming
because
on.
we stopped the recurring event, and then I thought we left it where when you're ready to come on, you'll let me know. And then we booked you once in 2023. I know you were over once.
I was
in
over
2023.
twice in 2023.
Oh, maybe really
I'm
early.
willing to come on the mic because I am a member.
Mike's like, what is going on here?
I'm a member of the FOTM Hall of Fame.
Right.
And I wonder if my status will be revoked. I'll be Pete Rosed out of Toronto
well, he
Mike's
never got
Hall
into
of
the
Fame.
Hall of Fame to get booted. I don't
If
think.
I don't renew my vows with you at least once during this calendar year.
What happened to the 1236 newsletter?
That's a whole other story. But I'm happily carrying on working in journalism, news,
With Alan's wife.
media.
Who I bumped into the other
irons
day.
in the fire all over the place. Saving Jewish journalism in Canada
Well, someone's
at
gotta
the
do it.
Canadian Jewish News.
Bad hop on that one. The Maple Leafs, I must call them the Blue Jays. He's a play of the plate. He's safe at home. Double. That was an RBI double right there. Mike Richards, were you subscribed? And it's okay if you weren't. I'm just letting you know a lot of people in your
Don't
industry.
put him on
Were
the
you subscribed
spot.
to the
It's
1236
not
newsletter?
worthwhile.
No, but I would see it because you would actually write about things that no one else would write about.
Right.
When it came to like ratings and the goings-ons of what happened in corporate radio,
It was,
which
great.
is very rare.
It's very rare.
Very rare. And
So
you know,
for how long will you be holding your talents hostage? Like, how do we get you back either regularly on Toronto Mike or back to the newsletter? How can we get more Weisblott? We're starving.
everything is going all right. You've seen me, Mike, twice in the past 10 days. Does it seem like there's any hostility here?
Oh,
like
God,
I have
no.
a
I never thought there was
problem with you?
hostility.
I gave you a birthday hug, a warm embrace. I was in on his birthday gift. Did you know about this, Mike?
What's the gift?
Actually-
the FOTMs. We bought Toronto Mike a kayak for his 50th birthday.
I was not in on that.
No, but I did get a list of everyone who submitted the money. I saw your name on it, and it was like warmed the cockles of my heart. Like so we're fine. I never thought we weren't fine, actually. So we're fine. But if you did want to come on Toronto Mike, I would happily book
Well,
you.
it would be
an
an entertaining subplot. In fact, I was staying away,
Right.
trying to avoid you. I think that's what people were expecting at the party, that there was some kind of falling out, that we had a problem.
No.
Did you talk about Bob Makowitz Sr., who we lost a few weeks ago?
Yep.
I know that was going to be a topic.
About 15 minutes ago, we
on your
talked about
episode.
Macco.
with Blair Packham. What do you
Okay, I'll have to
but what
rewind
would
and
you-
listen to it
right.
all.
But what would you say about the loss? Because, we used to do the Ridley Funeral Home Memorial segments together before I took that on, and then I took it off. But what would you say about Bob Makowitz Sr.?
Well, of the moment, more intriguing to me was the fact that you were talking to Joel Goldberg, who I caught up with on the flip side. And I was reminding Joel Goldberg how I first knew who he was. He was an after-school music video host on Channel 47.
CFMT.
He did the show with Shirley MacQueen called Something Else.
Yes.
And he billed himself as Jay Gold.
Right.
Then they changed the format of the show, and all of a sudden he introduces himself as Joel Goldberg. And I'm thinking, what is this bait and switch? This guy has been lying to me the entire time using a fake name. But in fact, he came out as Joel Goldberg out in the open. Reminded me here that stint didn't last very long. He got recruited by City TV. Ended up being the producer of Toronto Rocks with John Major. You remember this
of course
era, Mike?
Great
And
John
then
Major.
and then on to Electric Circus. So knowing that he's still collaborating with FOTM Hall of Famer Ed Conroy, Retro Ontario, on the EC documentary, I'm hoping for a better outcome than they had on 299 Queen Street West. Whatever the debacle was over there.
We talked about that with Joel. Absolutely.
That's sad.
Music licensing.
That's sad.
But I think a little less desperation involved in the Electric Circus documentary. That's going to be a heroic story. And when I'm on with Toronto Mike, he's always talking about how Maestro Fresh West was discovered on the show by Stevie B. I heard that
came up
name
today. That came up
dropped here.
today.
And I've tried to correct the record
do it now.
over time. Yeah, do it before Robert Lawson gets here. You talk about
He's next.
Stevie B as if he was some sort of Bob Dylan figure of the hip-hop movement, when in fact he was the cheesiest freestyle music
I got
performer
your
with these
letter
jerry
from the
curls
postman
who fluked in to having this #1 hit song, Because I Love You, the
Okay.
Postman's song. But it all fell apart from
But
after
you don't
that.
deny the facts, okay? I know the fact checker, the official fact checker of Toronto Mike is on deck, and you're going to introduce him, actually. But you don't deny the facts. You just think I put a little too much flavor on the name Stevie B.
Up
LMR,
next,
baby, LMR.
all the way from the Sunrise Record Store at Cloverdale Mall, the official fact checker of the Toronto Mic'd podcast, emerging from the bushes in which he hides, the one and only Robert Lawson.
Woo! Mike, you have no idea what you're in for here. Mike, you're a rock
That
and roll
is
fan, right?
quite
You're a
an
big
intro.
fan of the Guess Who?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we're going to talk to a guy who wrote the definitive book on the Guess Who. The Wheatfield Empire? Is that the name of your book, Mr. Lawson?
Wheatfield Empire, yes.
Okay, I always know these things. I don't have any notes in front of me, do I, Mike? I'm just remembering things. Mike Richards, meet the official fact checker of Toronto Mike, as Marc Weisblott just said, Robert Lawson. Meet each other.
Well, you must be very busy on a show like this, because I think half the people lie. So that would keep you. The Guess Who? That's interesting stuff, because I think, depending on your age group, people may not realize just how crazy big that was at one point, as in storming airports, and it was. I guess that I mean, I don't know what year it was when they actually go over to England, but there was just
He knows.
there was that CBC doc they did like years ago, and looking at some of those clips, really quite remarkable, and I think sometimes forgotten, sadly, which I don't know why. I don't know, because of the influence they've had and they had for generations after, that they really probably don't get their due notice. I don't know. I don't understand that.
They don't, for sure. I agree 100% with that. They, they're Canada's Beatles. When they were at their height, you couldn't escape them. Top 10 singles, top 10 albums, number 1 singles, first Canadian band to have that much international success outside of the country. Unprecedented before they came along. And that's sort of gone. There's a few reasons probably for it, and I have some ideas about it, but they don't have that name, face recognition like a lot of groups kind of from that era do.
So, Mike, I'm going to give you a little context about what I want to get into with Robert Lawson here. So here's the context that I had Randy Bachman on Toronto Mic'd.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get a note from the great Robert Lawson, who I already had on because he wrote the book on the Guess Who. We already did a deep dive in the Guess Who. People can find that in the Toronto Mic'd archives. But then Robert said, I have some issues with the things that Randy said. And then I said, why don't you come over and tell me about these issues? And then we played clips of Randy, and then we heard Robert Lawson call bullshit on this, that, and the other. And it was quite something here. I'm distracted by this ball game. Who are they? Okay, so just to give a quick score update, it is now 3-1 for the good guys, the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team. But, I see. We have a race around. That's what's going on. There are these two. Okay, there's a race around the field here at Christie Pits, which is, by the way, Robert, I've seen you at Christie Pits before. What do you think of the vibe here today?
It's great.
We'll get back to the Guess Who.
I've been coming here for years. I really like just everything about the environment. Now we have a left field on the premises, but it's a good time on the hill. There's lots of fun, and
you're wearing.
And now you're here.
You're wearing a Karma Citra IPA shirt. So is that because you needed to bring some Great Lakes to this very left field environment?
Well, because your Great Lakes is one of your sponsors, I felt that I should represent Great Lakes
Even though
today.
once you came over and you wore a left field hat.
I did. That was a faux pas on my part.
I never forget these things, Robert. I never forget. Okay, so Robert, I need to find out what's going on with the imitation Guess Who. Like, can you give us, for those of us who are only following it loosely, this Guess Who, what are their ties to the original Guess Who? How come they're able to use the name The Guess Who? And what's going on now where they're not allowed to play Guess Who songs that they didn't write? Give us the 411 on the Guess Who situation.
So the legal name to the Guess Who, original bassist Jim Cale bought the rights to it, and there wasn't really any issue with it because at the time nobody thought that the name would be worth much. This is before.
Wait, who does he buy it from? Like Burden and Randy? Like, who owns this? Like, do you have that info, or he somehow got legal rights to it?
Their original manager Jack Richardson was definitely a co-owner of it. But, and I think we talked about this on the podcast. Yeah. This is before classic rock kind of became a thing where everyone's rebuying all their old Bob Seger and CCR albums and all stuff like that. So the idea of how much value the Guess Who name had, probably very little. Burton was having a very successful solo career. Randy was very successful with BTO. So Jim Cale got the rights. He put out a couple of albums with original material that aren't great, but at least it's new stuff. And he had some other ex-Guess Who guys with him. Over the years, that has changed into just kind of a tribute band. So,
is there any people left in the new Guess Who that were a member of the classic Guess Who lineup?
So original bassist Jim Cale, he retired a couple years ago. Original drummer Gary Peterson is in the band, although I know in 2023 or 2022 he missed a lot of dates. So when they tour, if you're lucky, you'll get the original drummer. There's a good chance there'll be no original members, or even members from like later eras of the Guess Who. And it's weird because you see pictures and footage on social media of people lining up backstage with their copies of like the American Woman album to get signed by.
So
5 guys who aren't
I was
on that album.
So the Guess Who name really comes into play because you can't guess who's actually probably playing on stage.
But can we clarify, though, that's not happening in this country. Like, that's typically in, I don't know, the American Midwest or something. Like they're not able to play in Canada.
Not really.
And have people think that they're watching the same band that recorded American Woman.
No, they can't really play up here. I don't
They
think.
can't get away with that here, right, Mike?
That's weird.
We're too Guess Who's heavy. So
won't
what
stand
is this
for it.
move? I kept reading about Burton Cummings has made some legal move that prohibits the new Guess Who, if you will, from playing the classic hits of the Guess Who. What's that?
So, for a long time, when they tour in the States, and they do play a lot of gigs, whether there's any original members or not.
Yeah, like festivals and stuff in the
Yeah,
USA.
they do, and they do cruise ships and stuff. But when they play, they use original Guess Who music in the radio commercials and on the TV commercials. So you're hearing Randy's guitar, you're hearing Kurt Winter's guitar, you're hearing Burton's voice, and none of those guys are going to be there. So that's more the issue. That and Burton and kind of his team, they let it go for a long time. They would keep sending emails and reminding them, and the band would say, "Oh, this is our promoter. We have no control. We have no control." After a while, they just got fed up with it. So as the primary owner of the publishing for those songs, he controls who he gives a license to, who can perform them. So if there's somebody that he feels is,
to a degree, I do understand that. I mean, it's maybe not as harsh as Gene Simmons not letting poor Peter Criss wear the makeup anymore. I guess he just sits in his house watching All My Children in with a cat face. I don't know, but I do understand wanting to control the stuff that you created. I get it.
Got a ball coming right at us, and
amazing, right? That's like 20 feet away. That guy made the snag there. Okay, I love it. Please continue, Mr. Richards.
But no, I do understand why someone would all of a sudden, and I think he has, full rights to control stuff that he created. I don't think that's unreasonable.
But the issue being that they were issued numerous warnings to stop using the original Guess Who music in promoting.
Okay, so yes, if I'm here right, they have the legal right to call themselves the Guess Who.
That's right.
Right. And then they had the legal right anyways to perform cover, like they can play, they can sell tickets and then play American Woman, Come Undone, and all this stuff, right?
Burton was letting them do that for years, yes.
But what they can't do is promote the show with recordings from the classic lineup. Am I hearing that right?
Well, they shouldn't, because it's deceiving their audience. So because
it sounds like that's their game here.
It absolutely is. So because they wouldn't stop doing it, Burton pulled the live performance licensing from them.
Does that hurt his bank account though?
Yes.
For all the so he had. But let me ask you this: I've seen Trans Canada Highwaymen sing "Come Undone." Is that the full name,
Yep.
or is it
Undone.
parentheses jam? Undone. Maybe it's a parentheses jam.
No.
And Stephen Page does a great job on it, by the way.
Right.
Okay. So I've seen this recently. That is permitted because Burton has blessed their use of it.
Yes.
So it's not a blanket thing. He can cherry pick who can do it.
Yeah, there's a tribute band that he likes a lot that recently he took some photos with. They're allowed. Obviously, Lenny Kravitz can play an American Woman, and at every concert,
Right.
it's one of his biggest hits.
Sure.
Yeah, it's really, he's only, I don't want to speak for him, but he's only doing that because they refuse to stop using the original Guess Who music.
It's the
to promote
last
their
resort
shows.
he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have avoided all this by just responding to the first email.
Yeah, years ago. Right,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I find
he
this
cares about
fascinating.
it so much that, in answer to your question, Mike,
Yeah.
yes, it does affect his bank account.
Right.
Because he loses out on performance royalties.
But does it affect FOTM Randy Bachman's bank account?
A little bit. He has some publishing interest,
Right.
not as much as Burton.
Do you think Randy's I don't know, is Randy, did he bless this decision by Burton?
Yes, both of them went in on
Okay.
it together.
Okay, don't you find this fascinating, Mike? This is the greatest, my generation will say, oh, they're Tragically Hip, but before the Tragically Hip, there was the Guess Who, and as we mentioned, this is the first Canadian rock band to have international hits and a big U.S. hit, and big deal, the Guess Who. And to have this going on now is kind of fascinating, right?
Well, I also think, too, that, we just talked about the disastrous, the 299 Queen Street to do with rights. I think there's a way to do it that is sort of a negotiated thing where both parties win.
Sure.
Like it should be that way. You know, with that documentary, that's a shame because like, what are you really getting out of a clip of music that's 27 years old? Like, what's your point except to derail probably a project that everybody wants to see? Like, why you couldn't honestly come to some kind of conclusion with Sean,
but they're misrepresenting themselves, right? Like, they're misrepresenting themselves as if they're the people who made No Time or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that part I get, and as I said, they could have easily have gotten by this by just simply responding to the first couple of letters and saying, I get it, you created it. Okay, what if we do this? What if we do that? There's always a way to find middle ground, and that live performance group didn't do it. So
it goes further than that, too. Because they own the name The Guess Who, they changed. I think it's been changed back, but for a long time, if you looked on Spotify for the Guess Who, it would show a picture of the current band,
right?
And then underneath it is the American Woman album, the Share the Land album, the Soul on Valentine album. So again, making it seem as if these guys, and to be honest, I've seen clips of these guys on YouTube. Really, almost making it. They're implying that they're on the record. So
right. Well, they're signing. If someone hands them the album, they sign it, right?
Yeah.
But they don't. The guy's not signing at Burton Cummings.
No. I guess that would be worse.
Sometimes I sign autographs, Mike Richards.
Huh?
What happens there?
They're like, who are you? I thought you were Toronto Mike. This is bullshit. So what's next for to put a bow on this Guess Who situation? Like, what's next? Like, is it just the lawyers negotiate, or what's going on?
The Guess Who filed countersuit against Burton, saying that he's not allowed to say that he was the ex-lead singer of the band.
Jesus. Sass Jordan's husband is that singer, right? I think
that's
Sass
right,
Jordan's husband.
Yeah. Well, that's a trivia thing.
That's
I didn't
a fun
know.
fact.
Okay, that is a fun fact.
Yeah. I'm here with the fun facts here. And Sass Jordan, delightful Toronto Mike episode where I'm not too sure she knew I was recording things. But anyways, it was wild. It was wild. No, of course she must have known, but it was wild actually to hear that here. And Robert Lawson, thank you for coming to TMLX 15.
Yeah, that was great.
Many guests in a row who've been. Blair was there, Joel was there, you were there, Marc Weisblott was there, and I'm going to kind of close with a guy who helped organize the whole kayak thing, but it was amazing to see you there.
That was a good time. I was glad to meet everybody and find out that apparently I'm pretty infamous among them.
Yeah, but do you listen? Like, serious question. Do you listen to Toronto Mike?
Of course.
Okay. You must hear the constant references to Robert Lawson hiding in the bushes if I think somebody's bullshitting me.
Yeah, but I didn't believe that there was a meme.
Oh, yes, that's true.
There's a meme? Is there a meme?
You remember Homer Simpson coming out of the bushes?
Yes.
We put Robert Lawson's face on it. And every time somebody says something we think is bullshit, Robert Lawson's coming out of the bushes. And it's great to have you in the not-so-secret FOTM WhatsApp group.
Right.
Now, before you leave, because I'm going to get Tyler on, we got to talk just briefly here. You have a beautiful wife who is clearly 30 years younger than you.
Wow, this is starting to heat up now. It's getting good.
There.
I'm going to need the beer for this.
Mike, look at the woman here.
Yes.
Right here. Do you see her?
Yes.
What? She's like, 31, 29,
See, you
30?
don't do that.
You don't do that.
This is what you don't do.
You're
I have her at 30.
asking a woman her age.
Don't do that.
I have her at 30. I could be wrong.
Asking a woman her age.
Well, this
But-
is going sideways. Like I said, I wouldn't mind some alcohol at this point.
So I'm just going to congratulate you for punching above your weight.
Clearly.
I asked her earlier, we weren't recording, but does Robert fact check you at home? And she says yes. All the time. Look, she's nodding right now. And it's nice that, she'll come with you. Hey, let's go to Christie Pits, watch some Toronto Maple Leafs baseball, and I'm going to talk about the Guess Who of Toronto Mike. And she's here, not just here to support you. She's here taking video and photos. What is her first name?
Vanessa.
Vanessa, you're the real MVP as far as I'm concerned, okay? I should change the meme. You're coming out of the bushes now.
There you go.
You're the superstar. So, Vanessa, you're welcome at every Toronto Mic till the end of
She
time.
will never show up at an event like this ever again, just so you know.
Right. Yeah, right.
Okay, good on you, Robert. I want to chat with Mike Richards a little bit, and I'm going to put Tyler Campbell on. But anything else I should know about? So everybody should go to Cloverdale Mall. Do you know what date you have to be out of there by? Has that been announced?
No, not at all. I mean,
is it years away?
It's probably at least 2 or 3 years before they're going to start the redevelopment.
Because, Mike, Cloverdale Mall is going to become like a like he says, it's going to become like a condo tower with commercial space, and like it's going to redevelop the whole area there.
Wow, I've never heard of that
just
in
so you don't
Toronto.
know,
They're going to do really condos.
I was at the Galleria Mall on a bike ride yesterday, and I took a photo of the Galleria Mall because I was gifted a piece of the brick when they were demolishing the Galleria Mall. Somebody went and got a brick and gifted it to me. The Galleria Mall, okay? I'll need a brick from the Cloverdale Mall. I want you, Robert Lawson, to secure that for me. But just so Mike Richards knows, in fact, maybe you should tell us, Robert, what store do you manage inside the Cloverdale Mall?
So I manage Sunrise Records.
Sunrise Records.
Sunrise Records.
Okay.
That was what was the big location on Yonge Street in the day?
Yeah, there was one right across from Sam's.
Yeah,
right across from Sam's and H&B.
That was a big one.
Absolutely. And you do a great job. Every time I'm in Cloverdale, I drop by and say hi to FOTM Robert Lawson. Thanks for doing this, big guy.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Tyler. So Tyler's going to come on here, but Mike, I wanted to ask you when you learned that Bob Cole, and we'll let Tyler listen to a little of this Bob Cole chat because he and I are similar vintage. And we grew up with Bob Cole and Harry Neal calling Maple Leaf games.
Oh, baby.
Fucking loved it, right, Tyler?
Oh, golly.
Yeah.
Oh, baby. But when I think of Bob Cole, I think about Mike Richards and his impressions of Bob Cole. When you learned he had passed, how did you feel when you learned that news?
Well, you kind of knew it was coming a little bit.
He's 90?
You sort of brace yourself for, any moment he would drop. And I just think that, for using that voice, though, or stealing it like I did for, 20, 30 years.
You borrowed it.
But you don't imitate people that either aren't so popular. It's like people can do obscure impressions. But Bob Cole is he's the soundtrack of our lives. I mean, if you had to go through some of the great moments in your life, there's going to be a part of it where you're hearing Bob Cole talk about Doug Gilmour. He's at it again. He's behind the net. It's out front. Scores. Yep. It's just you hear that voice, and so it was years. I don't know what year it was exactly, but I thought, well, what if I kind of just take his voice and do something terrible like the game show every Friday, Bob Cole Chicks I Like, right? Where
I hear he did like chicks.
He did, but not the way that apparently.
I can't remember.
Oh no, he wasn't. He apparently his daughter thought it was funny, but he didn't think it was funny at all. Okay, let's go to that next broad. No, let me tell you, there's like, I don't like it. How does he know what broad I like?
Did you meet Bob?
I never did. I got a cease and desist on a McDonald's ad from my agency because some of these guys, if they're in this country, I mean, they could have got the gig. So why didn't McDonald's, I guess, just go and get Bob Cole? But it was the one, the playing cards like, collect them all, get Sundin and Gilmour and Clark. So
you should get a cease and desist for that.
Yeah, well, I did. So I didn't feel bad.
He's taking money out of fucking Bob Cole's pocket, right?
He's on a budget.
Robert.
Yeah, I didn't feel bad. Robin Leach tried to sue me like, I don't know how many times, but they kept putting me on, like global TV and to do these voiceovers. And I said, his people are going to call.
We don't want to pay Bob Cole's enormous cost. We're going to get Mike Richards to do it for 10% of the money.
The non-union Mexican equivalent.
The cheapo scumbag. We'll pay him in rye. He'll do it. Oh, you're damn right he'll do it.
I can't. So McDonald's was okay with this? Or am I
they attempt. There's
I think McDonald's will be like, I don't think we can have Mike Richards do a Bob Cole impression.
They were actively encouraging it.
But that stupid stuff like, I don't know what, I mean, it was probably Campbell's Chunky Soup or something, and this is the lifestyle in the rich and famous. Campbell's Chunky Soup eats delicious morsel, and they're like, you
That's
guys,
good.
That's a very good Robin.
They're like, you know what, you guys are gonna you won't get away with this. They're gonna come, but he came after me. There's a Mako story. He came after me because I was doing stuff on the Fan with Derringer. So how's
Derringer doing these days, by the way?
I don't know. I have not talked to him. I've sent a couple of messages. I have no idea. I hope he's doing well. I mean, that was some pretty tough times, but I have not talked to him. But I used to do certain voices just because I know he would make him laugh. And so his Robin Leach's agency that had like sabers and like a lion and a skull or something on it. And they approached, and so Mako goes, he goes, they're coming after the radio station. I said, they are. He said, yeah, there are mediators coming in with his people, and
God.
we'll sit one side. And this is back in the cassette recorder days. And so Mako said, the way we get out of this is if we prove that the premise that this is actually Robin Leach, the premise is so stupid, so immature and juvenile that it couldn't possibly be him. He goes, would you have any material like that? So I put together this montage of absolute stupidity, and
it's like parody then.
And it that thing lasted. I think when they got into the Robin Leach Aunt B debates,
right?
I think it was about 5 seconds into that. They said, "Okay, stop it." Where he's going, "Okay, well, you're a fat pig. Shut up, it's like, okay, all right, all righty." And it was over. It was Mako goes, it was over in like 15 seconds.
That's amazing.
But he actually came after, which normally guys don't do because of, the fair usage and the parody rule. You kind of got away with it, but
well, ask the guy from the 299 Queen Street West about that fair use law. But they're Sean Menard.
Menard.
Oh, high and inside. You see that, Tyler?
I saw that.
I know VP of Sales, by the way, is Tyler, so I don't know which name I'll give him. But Mike Richards, you're sitting. This man here, I believe, might be the guy. You'll confirm or deny right now,
sure,
Mr. VP. Are you responsible for the consortium of listeners that contributed to the kayak gift?
I was one of, so it was me and Moose Grumpy and Steph Wilkinson and, of course, Lieve Famke. And the four of us kind of got together and put that group together, the WhatsApp group, and started collecting contributions.
Because Mike wants to give you $100 for that right now. I'll let you guys do that.
Yeah, I'm a little short right now. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Of course.
As you see me leave with the Leafs lager in my pants.
There's gum over there too.
It's delightfly warm candy in the VIP tent.
And there's a young lady who's wearing. She was in the. Is it a bear? What is the mascot? A dog? There's a costume.
Yes. Yeah.
The Maple Leafs mascot was roaming around the field, and she was dripping with sweat.
Yeah,
on a day like this, can you imagine putting on the dog costume?
Absolutely not.
And doing your rounds and meeting kids and taking selfies. But I watched her over there. I kind of need to talk to her.
She sat down and she was about to take her mask off, but there were some kids here.
Oh yeah.
And so she didn't want to unmask
that would
in front of the kids.
traumatize them.
Exactly.
Like when Ronald McDonald broke character with me when I was working at McDonald's. I never forgot.
Yeah,
what
it's the mascot code. You can't break it.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk to her later. But Tyler, thank you so much, you and the Broad Squad and everybody. Yep. That blew me away.
It was,
and I was on it again yesterday, my third time since.
It was a great night, and we were happy to do it because you give so much to us, and we wanted to give it back as best we could.
Well, I really do appreciate it. No bullshit there. I'm glad you even got the great Marc Weisblott to contribute.
He did. He willingly and happily contributed.
How much did he give?
It was a lot of money.
Is that top secret?
$700 or $800. I think.
How much of that CJN money did I score in that transaction? Did Alan Zweig give anything?
It's amazing how much that gift has shown up on this show today. I mean, it is incredible.
The
mentioning of your gift.
Have you ever had a new car, like a new Mustang or something?
Do I look like I have a new Mustang?
You get a new car and it's like all you talk about for a couple of weeks, and then it becomes normal
the new
again.
Car guy.
But I'm only 3 paddles into the new kayak, so eventually this will dissipate. This won't be on the show.
Is it fun though, really kayaking? Honestly, is it fun?
I think Mike's enjoying it, and that's what matters.
What I like is the fact I bike, so no car required. I bike with my kayak on my back, and then I put it together, and I'm out in the water, and I kind of like this idea of like, oh my God, I'm on Lake Ontario now, and I can go wherever I want, and then I'll start paddling. So is it fun? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah, but I also think when someone talks about their bike riding and their kayaking,
by the way, that's also fun.
I'm thinking, are times tough?
You just don't get it.
Yeah. It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
Is kiting?
Do you find biking boring?
Yeah, I hate it.
What do you do for exercise?
Well, sometimes you got to get ice. And you got to get up, and you got to crack the ice.
Walk to the store.
There's a little. The biceps are moving.
Sure.
There's a lot of stuff going on. It's not as easy as I make it look.
You're engaging the core, which is really what's important.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mike, it's I have to say I'm Mike Richards, not Toronto Mike.
Okay.
I'm honored to be on the mic with you because I was a longtime listener of you back in your fan days, even in your 195 days.
Oh, wow.
And the impression that really stuck with me was Victor Newman.
Yeah.
And what I learned from you is that there are two modes for Victor Newman. There's the quiet, just do your damn job, okay?
Yes.
And then there's the shut the hell up, all right? the very angry, animated Victor Newman.
He came into the TSN studio. I really wish at that time they were still televising it because it was quite remarkable. Because he is who he is.
Yeah.
So he comes in, he's got a long black coat on with a beautiful white shirt. Like he looks like he just got out of the limo. And he looks exactly how you think he would look. Like he's Victor Newman.
Yeah.
And so he's just the most fascinating guy. Like I really got to know him quite well. But then, like I'm nervous because, I got to do the voice in front of him. And I'm terrified. Like I'm really scared at what he's going to think. And when I first started doing the impression, because he was a little bit of a bastard. He was having fun with me.
Yeah.
He was trying to throw me off my game. So I was doing the low voice. So I was saying stuff like, when I started all those years ago, what you've got to understand is the work that goes into it. And I don't think you give a damn. And he goes, what are you talking about? And at one point, Lumbie's going, Lumbie's listening to it. Jeff Lumbie's listening to it and going, I didn't know which guy was which. And that's the biggest compliment because he's also great at impressions. And so when I kept going and he wasn't going to get me off my game, then he breaks into you listen to me right now. All right? I'm Victor Newman. You got that? And he started doing the high voice, and people
oh my God.
It was the greatest.
That's amazing.
The greatest moment of my life. Joe Montana and, the prime ministers and Reggie Jackson and you name it. But that.
Eric Braeden.
Wow.
Eric Braeden. Because after that, because if he was in town, I'd always want to have him on or see how he was doing. And he'd call my cell phone, and there'd be something that would say like Beverly Hills or some ridiculous, like, what the hell is this? And I didn't want to pick it up sometimes. I wanted to hear the message. And he said the same thing every time, and I don't know why. And I called back, and I finally I had to tell him. Because it'd be like, boop. Hello, Mike Richards. This is Eric Braeden. Victor Newman from The Young and the Restless. I go, why are you saying that? Why do you have to tell me the character you've played for 117 years and that I have stolen, another voice that I have stolen to make money? And finally I said, Eric, you could have left it at Eric. You're not bringing up the Rat Patrol. You're not bringing up these other roles. That's right. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, he's an amazing, interesting character. I follow him on Twitter. His Twitter account is still
he doesn't mess around.
No. And he's a fascinating guy.
Tyler, you're a fascinating guy.
Oh, thank you.
You know
Mike.
what I think of you? You made pizzas for my family recently.
We did have a pizza
which
night.
Which was amazing.
With the uni, like the backyard uni
I got
thing?
a little wood-fired situation going on back there.
How's that working out? Because I haven't bought one yet because they look great.
I love it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, we all
Friday
even Morgan loved it. That's how you know you were successful here. So I will catch up. I'm going to wind down here, but I think it would be amazing if Mike Richards and I close the show with a very brief chat with the young woman who was wearing the very hot dog mascot costume on this steaming hot Sunday afternoon at Christie Pits here. So we're going to close with Maya, believe it or not. Okay, Maya, come on over. This is exciting. Mike, did you ever think in your life that you would one day be interviewing the young lady in the mascot costume that runs around Christie Pits during these Toronto Maple Leafs baseball
Well, see, I'm always confused by certain teams, the mascot that they choose. You would assume it might be something related to whatever.
Wait, so I don't. Leaf?
So is there Leafy?
All right. So now, Maya.
Yes.
Welcome to Toronto, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, Maya, what exactly is the mascot for the Toronto Maple Leafs? Are you a dog?
I believe I am a bulldog.
A bulldog?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have so many questions, Mike, and we can ask her anything, okay? But on a day like this, and I don't know what the temps are today.
I think it's 27.
Yeah, so high 20s.
Sunny 27. What's the temperature inside the dog costume? 50 degrees, right?
What's like the highest possible living temperature someone can be alive in.
Okay, wow. That's okay. So how do you, like, you're just drinking water all the time? You got to, I mean, every kid who sees you wants a selfie with you is like, oh my God, there's a dog, like a giant dog. Like, the kids must go nuts when they see you. I know a bunch of adults. I know Blair Packham was excited when he saw you. So you've got to be in character, running around. You're a happy dog, but you're melting inside, right?
I'm melting inside, but when I see people and they see me, I'm just the happiest person ever.
Oh, well, that's
like,
great attitude.
I don't even notice, like, I'm drenching in sweat as they ask me for pictures.
But, like, now you're in the VIP tent, and VIPs can get their beer there, and there's gum there, and you can get lots of good stuff. I know. Get yourself some gum before you go, okay, Maya? But you were there. I saw you. It's gonna sound dirty, but it's not. But you were stripping down, getting that costume off you because you were so damn hot. So that's like a safety spot where the kids can't see the dog literally peeling off its skin.
Yes.
Like, imagine the nightmares, Mike.
Well, I think that's why they were running around the bases about an hour ago.
Did you run around the bases, Maya?
I encouraged the kids. I was cheering them on from the side. So I was basically running around, just wasn't doing the running part.
Now, how do you get a job like this?
Yeah, that's the next
Like,
question.
why are you in a dog outfit?
How do you get this gig?
Because I got to think maybe the parents are going,
Well, it started. I actually went to a baseball game with my friend Daniel, and he said, I actually work with another baseball league, and there's this mascot that he kind of quit a bit ago, and I was like, I've always wanted to be a mascot. I've always wanted to be a mascot. This happened, like, I think last Thursday.
So, wait a minute. You only got this opportunity last Thursday. Is this your debut?
Yes.
Is this your first
My first day.
Mike, this is...
And so what's the experience? Did you have fun? Did you like it?
It's pretty phenomenal. I
Like,
love...
will you be back?
Well,
Like, if they have you back?
That's a good question. I'm still
If it's so
pondering.
phenomenal, she might quit the job after one day.
Yeah, you loved it, but it's over. The dream's over.
What do you not love about it? Is it the heat, or is it the humidity?
It's the humidity in the costume specifically. Because the heat right now, like, I'm sitting in the shade, it's actually fine.
No, I should ask this.
Right.
Is this a paid job?
It's not.
So wait, whoa. Okay. So you're a volunteer. Okay, that explains why. Okay,
See,
so.
but that makes you then extra special and nice, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
That's what makes
Yeah,
you
you're a
special.
sweetheart. Okay, so you
Yeah.
met. So your friend. Is this a Jays game you met him at?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at a Blue Jays game and you're chatting it up, and he's like, "Yeah, I work for the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team. They play at Christie Pits. Our mascot just quit." And you're like, "I want to be a mascot." So today you were the mascot, but you don't know. As you look at me, I'm looking in the eyes. You don't know if you'll ever be back because the pay is shit.
Oh.
Well, she
And
never
it's
said
hot.
that. She didn't say that.
I didn't
Well,
say
it's zero.
Yeah.
That's pretty shitty.
Yeah, well, hey, I've seen worse.
You've seen worse.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to know that story.
He's taken a few baths.
It's not good. But you have to tell the ownership or whatever at some point. You're like, the dog's
Well, I
not
know
for me.
ownership. Do you want me to talk to them? What do you need to make this more worthwhile? Like, you need money or...
Yeah, negotiate. You know what?
Are you... By the way, I don't think you're old enough to drink. How old are you? You don't have to tell me.
Boy,
but
you
are
really
old enough
get to the
drink?
stuff with the girls, don't you?
Well, no.
How much do you weigh?
like-
What's your father do for a living?
No, but can you drink legally?
What does this have to do with the interview?
Yeah,
I wonder
exactly.
If
Looks-
maybe your compensation is some left field beer.
No, my favorite drink is actually water. So I'm glad they had that ice cold water back then.
Painted a lovely picture.
She's wondering
Can't
where
get
I'm
a
going with
job.
that
You
here.
weren't a dog head, and you do it for booze.
But
That's,
it was a great experience, and for the rest of your life, you can tell everybody that you were the. Does it have a name? Your mascot, the dog?
Not yet, but we're going around asking people. I've got Lucy. I forgot the rest, but Lucy stuck with me.
Lucy.
What's a good name? Like, this is Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, obviously, like Leaf would be a good name. Like Leaf Erickson.
What about
like a Norse god?
better luck next year to fit in with the theme of all Toronto teams?
Butler, the bulldog. How about
Butler?
that? You like that? Because Butler is so intertwined.
Butler sounds like a maid and a butler.
Right,
You know?
but the manager is a Butler, and today Rich Butler opened us off. He's a former Toronto Maple Leaf baseball player, and they both batted almost 500 in a season. Like, maybe Butler is the name of this mascot. I'm actually going to pitch this to ownership. Butler, the bulldog, and I want you to be the official mascot of this for this team.
Thank you.
Because I'll be back in early August, and Mike, I don't know, that drive almost killed you, so I don't know.
It was the parking that killed me. Have they heard about that around here?
Well,
make some room already.
You know,
I swear to God, I parked in Manitoba. That was a long drive to this.
But what did you think of the vibe here?
Fantastic! This is you can't beat this. I mean, you really can't beat. This is a fantastic day.
By the way, the visiting Hamilton team went on had a little run there, and I see they're now doubling us 6-3. Hey, you have younger eyes, Maya. Is that 6-3?
Oh, I have to admit, I'm not a huge baseball person.
Oh, these are just numbers. Okay, but I think it's 6-3 in the sixth.
How are you seeing? What are you, Lee Majors? How are you seeing?
Right,
how are you seeing this?
6-3, Tyler. Well, I'm actually not good at reading stuff right here, but when it's far, I'm like George Costanza.
But it's in red letters.
Well, I know it says 3-6-6.
Yeah. Okay. So sixth inning. Yeah. So that's home inning guests.
No one's left. I know that.
Nobody's leaving
left.
this game.
Nobody has left.
Maya, you're now an FOTM. Okay, that means friend of Toronto Mic'd.
Oh.
And if you ever wanted somebody or yourself to hear this, if you go to memorize this.
Okay.
Toronto Mic.
Toronto Mic.
The city, the name, torontomic.com.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a link to an episode recorded live at Christie Pits with the great Mike Richards, and you are in that episode. So you can tell everybody, hey, my podcast, have you been on a podcast before?
Never.
This is your podcast debut, the same day your Mascot debut.
Yeah.
Okay. Maya, thanks for doing this. I was curious, like, how you can survive in that costume on a hot day, and it sounds like it's tough sledding.
It's everyone's energy. That's how I survive.
All right, well, you're not done yet, right? It's only the sixth inning.
Yeah.
What do you do next?
Next? Actually, I don't know. People just tell me.
This is actually where she sets herself on fire and goes into the stands.
Oh, when there's nothing
the name
left
of the mascot
to lose.
is now called Bernie.
Okay, well, Butler the Bulldog, played by Maya. What a pleasure it is to meet you. And Mike Richards, man, we tried to do this twice before, and then the Mother Nature didn't cooperate, but today was perfect.
Oh, absolutely perfect.
And I can't wait for the next big announcement. How long do I have to wait for the big announcement?
Oh, within a couple of weeks. I think probably we'll be doing this.
That close? And you can't make it right now?
No.
Just make it already.
One more little hurdle, and then we should be probably sometime, I would say, hopefully in the beginning of August.
I feel like Charlie Brown, and you got the football there. I've heard that exact sentence from you.
You've heard this from me for 5 years.
One little hurdle, and then we're off to the races.
I've got this new great partner. What? What do you mean there?
Is it Drake?
Yeah, you saw smoke from the building? What are you talking about? This will be, I mean, because of the way I have to do it, that's why it's taking some time. But it'll be worth it.
Well, I'm rooting for you. I always root for you, Mike Richards. I think you're fantastic. You're such a great soul. And I want to tell you, I appreciate you co-hosting this episode with me today, buddy.
Anytime you want me to come down, it's after your birthday.
You'd have to.
I was up north, but in all fairness.
Well, you'd have to park again, so maybe we'll...
I park basically with the cottage.
You know what? I'll get Blair Packham to pick you up next time.
Yeah, okay. Why, is he out that way?
Nope. I had him pick up Rick Emmett from Burlington, and he lives in East York, and he did it. So I thought maybe he might do it for you. But thank you, Mike Richards. Thank you, Maya, the mascot. You're doing a great job.
No worries.
Keep it up. And that brings us to the end of our 1,517th show.
Wow.
You got some catching up to do, Maya. Where do we send her first? Just don't start with the Molly Johnson. Too many people start with Molly Johnson and they get the wrong idea what the show's all about. Why don't you start with Bob Ray?
What episode number is that?
It's very recent, maybe 2 weeks ago. You don't have to go back too far. Start with Bob Ray and then build your way up to Molly.
Perfect.
You can follow me. I'm at Toronto Mike on Twitter and Blue Sky. Go to torontomike.com. Raw Mike Richards on Twitter. That's where we go to follow the great Mike Richards. Much love to all who made this possible. That's Great Lakes Brewery, Palma Pasta, RecycleMyElectronics.ca, the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team who hosted us today. What a fantastic afternoon of baseball. Everybody get your butts to Christie Pits for some live Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. And of course, Ridley Funeral Home. See you all tomorrow, and my special guest is Jill Dempsey from Metro Morning on CBC Radio 1. See you all then.